Hey everyone, if you are watching this, again, I just want to say thank you and that I hope you're doing well. Today, I'm gonna take some time to talk about self love actually, what it really means to love yourself. Shout out to Kuya Lu for getting me this shirt for my birthday. It's from Jen Johnson's lovely line. Go ahead, look it up. It's so cute and it's actually perfect for this video. Yeah, shout out to you. Before I start, I just want to say that I am by no means an expert on self love. If you're looking for words from an expertise, then you can click and go somewhere else because that is not me. But I wanted to take some time to actually just share about my process, my journey, and what I've been learning about self love and just the breakthrough that I've been having in that area in hopes that it can encourage you. So, let me start off by sharing just a little bit about my journey and what self love has looked like and what it has meant to me. Self hatred began pretty early on for me, beginning in middle school when most people start developing a sense of self hatred. I really struggled with weight. I really struggled with not being able to look in the mirror for years, starting in middle school. I actually could not look in the mirror without being disgusted in myself. Fast forward to actually 2014, the first time I was able to look in a mirror and stop being disgusted by what I saw. What happened at the time was that I had gone through a really bad breakup where in that relationship, I had put all my worth into that person. Everything that I thought about myself and my ability to even do anything was dependent on that person's love towards me. So when that ended, I was literally left with the belief that I was nothing, that I was not attractive enough, that I was not good enough, that I was unworthy of love. And it was really hard. But that same year, and when that breakup happened, I was living in Hong Kong, and God really provided for me family and friends and a church family that really supported me, gave me love in a way that I hadn't fully experienced before. On top of that, I actually lost almost 20 pounds while living there. And so not only was I receiving a lot of love from my friends who were helping me to see myself well, but I had lost a lot of weight. And so I thought that I had achieved the beauty standard that I had been trying to achieve my whole life. For a long time, I believed that that was the epitome of self love. I was like, oh my God, this is what it means to love myself. I can actually look in the mirror. I know I'm loved because of the way my friends see me, and I feel love, and I can now love myself. Like I felt empowered to love myself because of circumstance. And you see, that's the thing that God kind of revealed to me last year. And He started showing me a distinction. He showed me that there is a difference between really, really loving yourself and loving yourself based on your circumstance. In 2014, I had started to love myself because my circumstance was good. I was skinny, I had lost a lot of weight, and I had a lot of friends who went above and beyond for me in showing me love. And the thing is, on one level, that's good. I'm not saying that that's bad or that that's not self love. When you can love yourself because you know that you're loved, like that is one level of self love, but it actually goes so much deeper. At that time, I remember telling myself a lot that I can't love anyone until I love myself. And I think for most of us, we've heard that our whole lives that we can't love unless we love ourselves. But recently, I've been really thinking, like, what does that actually mean? Like, I get it on one hand, but at the same time, I'm like, well, what does it actually mean to love yourself? Does it mean that I like myself all the time? Does it mean that I look in the mirror and then all of a sudden I'm just like, girl, you look good. You are lovely. And then I love myself? Again, on one level, yeah, that's part of it. But here's what God has been showing me in the past few weeks about the reality of self love and what I think it really means to love ourselves. I believe that if you can love yourself at all times, even when you are not measuring up to the standard that you think that you should be at, if you can love yourself even when situations aren't good, then that is the beginning of truly experiencing loving yourself. But what does that look like? I've started to see that self love looks like me being able to stop in a moment where I am actually shaming myself and say, Sarah, I know you feel like you suck right now, but you are actually doing a great job. So, for one, self love looks like self talk. it looks like positive self-talk. Let me just say this first. I believe that truly loving yourself is an action. Oh wow, that's so good. I think I actually just realized that while making this video. So really loving yourself is an action. It's not just the state of being where it's like, I love myself all the time. But as you guys know, when you are in a relationship, it is an active choice to love the other person. It is an active choice to lay down yourself, sacrifice your own desires in order to love that person and meet them where they are. It's a decision to love them, even if they're not giving you what you want or need in the moment. It's always a choice. So I believe that truly loving yourself is choosing to actively love on yourself. So as some of you guys know, I started a coaching program called Alive and Free. I talk about it in my last video. And what it has shown me recently is how to catch when I am shaming myself. When I start saying things like, dang, Sarah, you suck, which I had not realized that I do that a lot. Every time I fail in any way, I'll unconsciously be like, well, I suck, or I'm bad, like, well, I'm not doing well. And those are actually shaming thoughts. It causes me to feel bad. These thoughts that I don't actually pick up on are causing me to feel bad about myself. And then I hate myself because I'm not measuring up to where I think I should be. And what I've learned through this program is how to actually catch those moments and then be like, okay, Sarah, you are feeling like you are not a good person because you didn't read a book today, or because you didn't post a YouTube video today. Like doing these things that I had put on my to-do list. But choosing to catch myself in that moment and give myself love by saying, no, Sarah, you're actually doing a great job. Oh, Sarah, try to remember that your worthiness and you being deserving of love is not dependent on your performance or how well you think you're doing. That action of talking love over myself is a huge part of what it looks like to actually love yourself, myself, whatever it is. It's hard for me to talk. I think a lot of you guys know that. I forget English half the time that I'm talking. But yeah, where am I? And so while I was in a conversation with one of my friends this past week, and I was kind of sharing about this, one of the things that he pointed out was how self-love actually looks like being proud of myself. But I think that actually being proud of yourself is something that's very practical and very solid. Like it's something very solid to hold on to. When you can be proud of yourself and actively see how far you've come, there is so much power in that. One thing my friend pointed out for me was that I was still beating myself up about how oh, I'm struggling with where to put my focus. Do I focus on this and this and this? How do I find balance? Blah, blah, blah. And he kind of stopped me and he said, Sarah, you need to be proud of yourself for the fact that you are focusing on two things. When in the past, you would put 10% focus into 10 different things. For you to put your focus on two things is a big step for you, and you need to be proud of yourself for that. And that was a huge thing for me where I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing way better than I was doing last year. And I can honestly say that I'm doing way better than I was doing last month. And so here's something to keep in mind. We have the choice to be proud of ourselves when we do better than we did yesterday. For all of us, our desire is to be known, it's to be seen and to be loved. We have an innate desire to be told that we are doing a good job. Even if words of affirmation isn't your thing, we all have this tendency to ask, did I do well? Am I doing good? But if you are able to learn how to look at yourself and say something like, okay, I did better than I did yesterday. And if you did worse than you did yesterday, you can still say, all right, I'm doing way better than I did 2 years ago or last year. It's a level of empowerment. Love also relates to empowerment. What it looks like to love yourself is also to empower yourself. This is pretty good. I actually didn't have an outline or anything. This is just coming. Thanks, Holy Spirit. And then the last aspect of self-love that I want to focus on today is what it means to be kind to yourself and to love yourself by practicing self-care. I think self-care is spoken about a lot, but it's something that we aren't really taught how to do. We are actually taught to kind of work our butts off because that means success. And self-care really looks like shame. And oh my gosh, like what the biggest blessing for me during this time of quarantine has been to learn what self-care actually looks like for me. So the other day I was like watching anime, and I love anime, but I would never watch shows or take time to watch shows because every time I did, I'd end up shaming myself because I was like, well, Sarah, you just wasted a day. You just wasted an hour. You just wasted 30 minutes, even though I'd waste the same 30 minutes being on my phone half the time. But basically, I withheld doing something I love because I shamed myself for it. And I would do that with anime, I do that with video games, I do that with other things like just taking a chill walk outside. You know, I really would withhold those things from me because I thought I had to do something else. But honestly, loving yourself means giving you the time to rest and do something that you love. When I went and watched anime last night, in moderation is a word, but when I went and watched anime and played video games for a few hours, I was just like, I feel so happy. I feel so good, and it was literally the happiest I had been in a while. That didn't have to do with friends. Like I'd be really happy after hanging out with friends, but this was the first time that I was really happy with myself and by myself because I was like, oh my God, that was so much fun. Like I blessed myself when I did those things. I really believe that it is God's desire for all his children to learn what it means like to delight in good gifts. Meaning that whatever it is you like to do on your free time that actually feeds your soul and makes you feel happy doing that thing without the attached obligation where it's like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing in hopes that it yields me this. I hope that makes sense. I'm talking about if painting is your passion and that's how you rest and relax, then paint without the obligation that you have to be known for this piece of art or that you have to post this on Instagram. Like, just paint for the sake of painting because it makes you happy. That's what it looks like to rest, and that's actually what it looks like to love yourself. So, in all these things, I know it's a bit much, but I hope that it can kind of give you a guideline of what it means to really love yourself. It is not just looking at the mirror and saying like, dang, I look good today. And it's not just loving yourself because your situation and circumstance is good. It's loving yourself even when you feel like you have fallen short. It's choosing to be kind to yourself even when you are 10 pounds overweight. You know, that's just a very real thing. Like, I know that if I were even 2 pounds bigger than my ideal, I'd start shaming myself. But am I going to choose to love myself even when I don't look the way that I want to look? That again is actively choosing to love. And then are you willing to love yourself by giving yourself the time to rest and do something you love and not shame yourself for it? God actually wants to meet you in every single one of those places. He wants to meet you in that place where you're feeling shame. And he wants to say, no, my child, you deserve love and you deserve to be loved in this moment because I love you regardless of how you see yourself. When we can take that knowledge and understanding of God's love and apply it towards ourselves, learning how to love ourselves the way that God loves us, trust me, it brings you to a whole nother level of freedom. And operating from that place of love actually empowers you to do way more than you could have from a place of shame and from a place of condemnation and a place of not loving yourself. That is all I have. I'm lovely. You are lovely. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye.